Khabib Nurmagomedov, the Eagle from Dagestan, the undefeated champion whose name would later echo across arenas worldwide, was a warrior forged in the mountains and valleys of his homeland. His fighting style was known for its seamless blend of exceptional grappling, a tenacious work ethic, and a mind focused entirely on victory. But in 2010, Khabib was still carving his path, preparing for what would one day become one of the greatest careers mixed martial arts MMA had ever seen. And then there was Vialiy Ostrovsky, a fighter from Ukraine who, though not yet a household name, was a fierce competitor. Ostrovsky had been fighting for years, honing his skills in the Ukrainian combat sports scene, a landscape where champions were made out of grit and determination, not just talent. He entered the ring with a sense of purpose to prove himself, to show that his countrymen could stand toe-to-toe with the best the world had to offer. Vialiy was a mix of strength and speed, with quick hands and a relentless will to move forward. But fate and the fighter's mettle were not on his side that day. The stage was set at the M1 Selection Ukraine 2010, an event that was crucial for Khabib as he continued to rise through the ranks of M1 Global, a Russian-based promotion. This tournament would determine who would take the next steps toward international recognition, with scouts and fans alike keeping a close eye on the competitors. It was a tournament where careers could either rise or fall, and in Khabib's mind, this fight was yet another step in his journey to greatness. The venue in Kiev, Ukraine, was filled with anticipation as fighters from all over the region entered the cage, ready to showcase their skills. The lights were dim, the crowd murmured in excitement, and there, in the center of it all, stood Khabib. His trademark determination was already visible in his steely eyes. He had been preparing for this moment his entire life. As the announcer's voice echoed through the arena, the anticipation peaked. Khabib stepped into the cage, his opponent following close behind, each fighter wearing the weight of their ambitions. Round 1, the clash begins. The referee's signal to start the round echoed across the arena, and in an instant, both fighters engaged. Khabib, like a skilled predator, wasted no time in closing the distance between him and Ostrovsky. His approach was calm, yet aggressive, a mixture of calculated strikes and subtle feints designed to lure his opponent into a false sense of security. Ostrovsky, known for his striking, attempted to establish his range, throwing a couple of jabs and leg kicks in an effort to keep the younger Khabib at bay. However, Khabib was not the type to be intimidated by the striking game. He had spent countless hours refining his grappling skills, but his striking wasn't something to be taken lightly either. He knew how to close the gap quickly and get in on his opponent's movements, ready to capitalize on any mistake. Khabib had a unique ability to predict his opponent's next move, an uncanny foresight that made him an incredibly dangerous fighter. As Ostrovsky threw a right hook, Khabib expertly ducked under the punch, avoiding it with ease. At that moment, the crowd erupted as Khabib shot in for a double-leg takedown, wrapping his arms around Vialiy's legs like a vice. Ostrovsky, to his credit, tried to defend, sprawling and attempting to create distance. But Khabib's grip was unrelenting, and with one powerful surge, he drove Vialiy to the canvas. The roar of the crowd intensified as Khabib immediately moved into dominant top position, transitioning with ease to side control. Ground and pound, the shift in momentum. At this point in the fight, the narrative shifted. Khabib had achieved what he wanted. The fight was no longer standing. It was now in his world, and it was clear that Vialiy Ostrovsky's striking, though effective at range, would have little impact on the ground. Ostrovsky fought with heart, attempting to scramble and create space to work his way back to his feet, but Khabib's control was exceptional. He was relentless in his pressure, using his body weight and technique to stifle every movement from his opponent. With each failed escape attempt, Ostrovsky's frustration grew. His breathing became more labored, and his ability to defend slowly diminished. The announcers were already calling the fight in Khabib's favor as the young Dagestani fighter unleashed a barrage of punches from the top position. Each strike landed with precision, his elbows slicing through the air like a blade. It wasn't long before Vialiy began to visibly slow down. His defense started to break down, and Khabib, sensing blood in the water, intensified his onslaught. With every punch that landed, the gap between the two fighters seemed to grow. Ostrovsky had no choice but to cover up, trying to weather the storm of ground and pound coming from the Eagle. But Khabib's relentless assault showed no signs of stopping. The Ukrainian's guard was breached, and with a thunderous series of punches, Khabib forced the referee to step in. Victory. Khabib's win by TKO. It was over. The referee had seen enough, and with 4:6 left on the clock in the first round, he stepped in and called a halt to the contest. Khabib Nurmagomedov was declared the winner by TKO punches, a victory that further solidified his status as one of the most dangerous young fighters in the world. The crowd erupted into applause, though many knew that Khabib's talent was more than just his ability to win. It was his methodical, unbreakable spirit. In this fight, Khabib had shown that he could deal with both the stand-up game and the grappling exchanges with equal prowess. But as Khabib raised his hand in victory, the story wasn't just about the win. It was about the path he was paving, a journey toward greatness. For Vialiy Ostrovsky, the loss was certainly a setback, but in the world of MMA, setbacks are often the things that drive a fighter to evolve and grow. And for Khabib, this victory, like so many others, was a stepping stone on his way to becoming one of the greatest fighters the sport has ever seen. The aftermath, the journey forward. As Khabib walked out of the cage, his mind was already focused on the next step of his career. The victory against Ostrovsky was important, but it was just another step in his unrelenting quest for perfection. He had already begun to visualize his next opponent, the challenges that lay ahead, and the path he would walk to achieve greatness. Ostrovsky, for his part, would go back to the drawing board. He wasn't out of the game, but he had been forced to face the brutal reality of fighting against someone like Khabib. It was clear that his striking alone wouldn't suffice against the Dagestani powerhouse, and he would need to evolve to keep up with the new wave of MMA fighters who were pushing the sport to new heights. But that night in Kiev, in the heat of battle, Khabib had proven his skill, his heart, and his will. He had shown the world that, despite his youth, he was destined for greatness. His undefeated streak was intact, and the legend of the Eagle was only just beginning to take flight. And so, the story of Khabib Nurmagomedov continued. One fight at a time, his journey would unfold until one day the whole world would know his name.